Hello friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we will be through 2025. In this video, we are in the book of Exodus, and we are in chapter 10, and we are going through the story of Passover and the plagues that were inflicted upon Pharaoh and the Egyptians for not letting the Israelites go walk 3 days out in the desert to go worship. So, the plague of the locust, chapter 10, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go to the Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his officials, so I may perform these miraculous signs of mine among them, that you may tell your children and grandchildren how I dealt harshly with the Egyptians, and I performed my signs among them, that they may know I am the Lord." So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what the Lord said, the God of the Hebrews says, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, so that they may worship me. If you refuse to let them go, I will bring locusts into your country tomorrow. They will cover the face of the ground so that it cannot be seen. They will devour what little you have left after the hail, including every tree that is growing in your fields. They will fill your houses and those of your officials, all the Egyptians, something neither your fathers nor forefathers have ever seen from the day they settled in this land till now." Then Moses turned and left Pharaoh. Pharaoh's officials said to him, "How long will this man snare us? Let the people go, so that they may worship their Lord, their God. Do you not yet realize that Egypt is ruined?" Then Moses and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh. "Go, worship your God. But just who will be going?" Moses answered, "We will be going with our young and old, with our sons and daughters, with our flock and herds, because we are celebrate a festival to the Lord." Pharaoh said, "The Lord be with you if I let you go along with your women and children. Clearly, you are bent on evil." No. So let me reread that with the right emphasis. Pharaoh said, "The Lord be with you if I let you go along with your women and children." Because he was like, "No, you're trying to leave. You're trying to escape, leave." Which is not far off, because God really wants to let them go, so they can go to the land of the Canaanites. "Clearly, you are bent on evil." And it's got a footnote of A. "Be careful. Trouble is in store for you." So sort of watch your words carefully. "No. Have only the men go and worship the Lord, since that is what you have been asking for." Then Moses and Aaron were driven out of Pharaoh's presence. And then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over Egypt, so the locusts will swarm over the land and devour everything growing in the fields, everything left by the hail." So Moses stretched out his staff over Egypt, and the Lord made the east wind blow across the land all that day and all that night. By the morning, wind had brought the locusts. They invaded all Egypt and settled down in every area of the country in great numbers. Never before had there been such a plague of locusts, nor will ever be again. They covered all the ground until it was black. They devoured all that was left after the hail, everything growing in the fields and the fruit on the trees. Nothing green remained on a tree or a plant in all of Egypt. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron, quickly summons Moses and Aaron. You slow down and read proper. And said, "I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now forgive my sin once more and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away." Moses then left Pharaoh and prayed to the Lord, and the Lord changed the wind to the strong west wind, and it caught up the locust and carried them into the Red Sea. B, Yam Supa, that is the Sea of Reeds. Not a locust was left anywhere in Egypt. They could go eat the reeds instead. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. The plague of darkness. Verse 21. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand towards the sky so that the darkness will spread over Egypt. Darkness that can be felt. Ooh. Now, that is an interesting statement. What do they mean by darkness that can be felt? Now, I do live in a place where there are absolutely no streetlights because we have observatories and we don't want any lights or any uplights or anything like that to disturb their view of everything. So, because there's more than one going on. So we got to keep it all, as dark as possible. Minimal light pollution. Light pollution ordinances are very strong here. So because of that, so that the dark could feel palpable. If you're not used to it, I suppose that might be what it is. But that's not the kind of darkness for me that they're talking about, because it's just not the absence of the sunlight or the presence of the moon and the stars doesn't mean darkness to me. So that just means it's nighttime. That's not the same thing. So the darkness that can be felt. So Moses stretched out his hand towards the sky, and total darkness covered Egypt for 3 days, so that no one could see anyone else or leave his place for 3 days. Yet all the Israelites had light in the places where they lived. So like a fog, maybe. Because to me, that's a palpable darkness that can be felt. I'm originally from the East Coast, so when the fog starts to creep up, especially in the fall time, when the ravens and the crows start landing on the middle of the field, and you're an imaginative teenager staring out the window in high school. It's like you're just waiting for the zombie hands to start popping up. Ugh. Then Pharaoh summons Moses and said, go worship the Lord. Even your women and children may go with you. Only leave your flocks and herds behind. But Moses said, you must allow us to have sacrifices and burnt offerings to present to our Lord. Our livestock must too go with us. Not a hoof is to be left behind. We have to use some of them in worshiping the Lord. And until we get there, we don't know what we are to use to worship the Lord. Like he has to tell us. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he was not willing to let them go. Pharaoh said to Moses, get out of my sight. Make sure you do not appear before me again. The day you see my face, you will die. Just as before, Moses replied, I will never appear before you again. Chapter 11 is the last of the plagues. So until the next video, friends.